My name is Christian. This is group number 1. This is the Frankenstein Presentation. Presented, by the way, by myself, by Eliana Arriaga, Wandy Ferreras, Glenny Núñez, Janilda Rondón, and Angela Aracena. In introduction, Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley. Mary Shelley, 1797-1851, daughter of the philosopher William Godwin and the feminist writer Mary Wollstonecraft, wrote Frankenstein at the age of 18 years old during a summer in Geneva with Percy Bysshe Shelley and Lord Byron. The novel was published in 1818. It's considered the first true work of science fiction, blending Gothic horror with philosophical reflection on ambition, science, and responsibility. Plot narration of letters 1 to 4. Walton writes to his sister, Margaret, about his Arctic voyage, driven by ambition and discovery. He longs for companionship, foreshadowing his bond with Victor. Turning point. Walton's ship rescues Victor Frankenstein, who warns him against destructive obsession. Chapters 1 and 2. Victor's idyllic childhood in Geneva with Elizabeth and Henry Clerval, early fascination with alchemy and Agrippa's occult work. The turning point in these two characters is a thunderstorm and the destruction of an oak tree that inspires Victor's shift toward modern science. In chapters 3 to 5, Victor's mother died of scarlet fever, leaving him grief-stricken. At university, he studies under Professors Quimby and Waltman. The turning point in these two chapters is that Victor discovers the secret of life and creates the creature. Conflict, horror at the creature's appearance, leading to Victor's breakdown and illness. Chapters 6 to 8. Victor recovers with Clerval's care, but avoids science. News arrives. His younger brother, William, has been murdered. Turning point. Victor sees the creature near the crime scene and realizes it is the killer. Conflict. Justine Moritz is falsely accused and executed, deepening Victor's guilt and despair. I'm going to mention some elements of this story. It's not a short story. There are significant differences because all the scenarios develops through the time and entirely. So, setting from Geneva to Ingolstadt, to the Arctic, contrasting domestic warmth with cold, hostile landscapes. Characters: Victor Frankenstein, who is ambitious, obsessive, guilt-ridden. The creature, intelligent, sensitive, yet rejected and vengeful. Walton, reflective, parallel to Victor. Elizabeth and Clerval are symbols of loyalty and compassion. Themes: ambition, isolation, responsibility, the danger of unchecked science, justice versus injustice. Conflict: man versus nature, man versus society, man versus self. Tone and mood shift from hopeful and romantic to dark, tragic, foreboding. Symbolism: lightning, destructive power of nature in science, the creature, symbol of human ambition and its consequences, the Arctic, isolation and pursuit of knowledge at the world's edge. Transition to plot. The novel opens not with Victor, but with Walton's letters, setting this stage for themes of ambition and isolation. Lightning turning point. The destruction of the oak tree, as I mentioned before, marks Victor's shift from superstition to science, a pivotal moment in his intellectual journey. Conflict emphasis. The murder of William and the unjust trial of Justine reveal the devastating consequences of Victor's silence. Closing. Through its setting, characters, and symbols, Frankenstein warns us of the peril in pursuing knowledge without responsibility. Now, as I mentioned, my colleague, Mirs Arriaga, will deepen into those characters.
Well, now it's my turn to present the elements of the short story. First, I will start with the central conflicts. Victor Frankenstein, because deeply interested in science and the idea of creating life. His ambitions drives him to experiment beyond natural limits. After months of hard work, he finally succeeds and brings the creature to life. However, instead of feeling proud, Victor is terrified by what he has created. He immediately rejects the creature, and this creates an external conflict between Victor and the creator, and also an external. Realmente están interrumpiéndome demasiado. ¿Me escuchan? Now it's my turn to present the elements of the short story. First, I will start with the central conflict. It is very clear Victor Frankenstein becomes deeply interested in science and the idea of creating life. His ambition drives him to experiment beyond natural limits. After months of hard work, he finally success bring the creatures to life. However, instead of feeling proud, Victor is terrified by what he has created. He immediately rejects the creatures. This, this creates an external conflict between Victor's and the creatures, and also internal conflict with himself. As he struggled with the guilty and fear, but avoids taking responsibility for what he did. Next, I will continue with the characters. Victor Frankenstein is the main character. He's intelligent, determined, but also reckless about because he does not think about the consequence of his action. The creatures that appear briefly, but plays a crucial role since his existence drives the conflict. Other important characters include Elizabeth, who represents care and family, Henry Cleaver, who shows loyalty and friendship to Victor, sorry. William, who was the younger brother of Victor, and Justin Morris, who becomes involved in a tragic situation. And now moving to the theme, one central idea, instead of the danger of uncontrolled ambition, and Victor's decided for knowledge, letting him to cross. And there is also the theme of installations. Victor separates himself from others during his experiment, and this isolation affect both his mental health, and his relationship with his family. Looking at the time and the sentence, the events mainly take place in Geneva, and in Ingolstadt, covering Victor's early life and his time as a student. The important event happened with a relatively short and focused period, especially the creation of the creature and the immediate result of that actions. The key moment or turning point is when the creatures is brought to life, and this moment changes everything. Instead of suicide, Victor experienced fear and regret. And finally, uh, my my point of view is this in these chapters created feelings and of tensions, curiosity, and sadness. Maybe the readers may feel sympathy for Victor, but also feel frustrated because of his poor decision and the injustice of destiny, and the situations also create an emotional impact